I've seen all these videos about thrift shopping. You can find great things if you go to thrift stores. It's there. All you gotta do is you gotta look. You gotta be patient. So you know what? It's a new year. I'm thrifting, baby. We're going to find the treasures. I'm in Colorado. Let's see what they got. Okay, here we go. Oh my God, look at this. Oh, new knee on the bounty. I do not have this. Ready, Conniff. Oh, Percy Faithas. Oh, Boots Randolph. Yakety Sax. Don't talk back. And Jim Reeves. Mystic Moods. This is Bill Anderson. I bet you he's good. That's in great shape. Yeah. Looks like it's never been played. And probably hasn't. Praise We Sing. Charlie McCoy. Okay. Yeah, this is exciting. The drummer boy. Now you know what? That one actually Haydn. That's Deutsche Grammophon. These usually sounds pretty good. But I got a lot of Haydn. Well, Haydn made over 100 symphonies, so. Oh man, this is Andy Gibb. And I think that's an autograph from Andy Gibb, just to get scratched out. Yeah, Boys of the Lounge. All right. Well, Band-Aids. Okay, either they're hiding the good stuff or I just missed it. Oh well, I tried. And welcome to the midweek. So we start with my attempt at thrift shopping. I'll try it once in a while. So we were in Colorado. That's back, 2-3 weeks ago when we were visiting my son. Well, gee, almost a month ago now. And we went to, I was at a record store, and then we went over to ARC. There was, next to this record store was ARC Thrift Store. So I just thought, why don't I just go in? Let's just go in. Let me see what's going on. Yeah, that was really bad. Wow. But I know there's bargains that can't be found out there. Maybe I'm just not good at it. But I went thrifting. Check it off the list of things to do. Maybe we'll try some others. We'll see. It's generally not my thing. But now I really want to go into some box sets, and I've had some of these box sets for a while. I just haven't shown them. Some will be quick, but the most important one we're going to start with. In my old collection, I had hundreds of box sets. I love box sets. I would buy box sets. Most of them were CD, but I had quite a few vinyl. Yeah, the flood took them all out. Nothing. They don't do well underwater. But there was one box set that I really wanted. Now, I've brought back some box sets. I do have an issue with them. Problem is, I buy a box set, and I'll listen to it the one time, and then it sits. And so you have this, might be a $200, $300, maybe $400. Some box sets go $500. It sits there. It's cool, but it sits there. And kind of my thing with box sets is, how often will I listen to it? So I've really kind of been backing off on a ton of them, really rethinking to make sure, would a CD be better, a CD box set? But there was one box set that has haunted me. It just, since the flood, it's the only box set I've looked at to try to go after because it was so good. For me, it meant a lot. And I've looked at the prices, and they've been out of this world. And I said, I can't afford that. I mean, that's way more than I ever paid. And then finally, it popped up on Discogs at a decent price. It's Luna. This is probably my favorite box set of all time. Got my Luna shirt on right there. A wonderful group. It's still out there doing concerts. They don't travel. They're kind of on the West Coast or East Coast. They never come to the Midwest. And this looks at their albums that they had from 92 to 99. I had bought this when it came out. I was in Indiana. It's just a group that only had in CD. Never saw their in vinyl, but they had vinyl. So this came onto Discogs, and so this was the first pressing, and there was a problem with one of the albums. One of the albums, called Pup Tent, wasn't recorded the best. And so they actually, I think they brought some of them back and they redid it and then they reissued it. So that very first batch, because of that one album, didn't do. I mean, it's cheaper, and that's what this is. But during the flood, I saved my vinyl from this box set. So I have the proper pup tent, the one that sounds much better. So the packaging is exactly the same. I replaced it with the better produced pup tent. So here we have it. We have the albums here. We have Luna Park, Bewitched, Penthouse, Pup Tent, Days of Our Night, and Rarities. I won't go deeply into this, because we have a few to show. Came with a nice book. This is interviews. So, it isn't, they really don't go into necessarily all the songs, just interviews with the groups, what was going on at the time. Dean Wareham, he came out of a Galaxy 500. And that was just a great 80s group. Kind of a shoegazy more, a little quieter though, not as loud as some groups. But they made, I believe it was 3 albums. I have them now, I believe, all of them. But then, they broke up and he formed Luna. And Luna's music, I got a playlist, so I'm attaching a playlist. I've never done that before, so please, if you want to hear more, go into my the thing, you can hear more, and there should be a playlist that you can hear music from Luna. It's beautiful, it's melodic, there's some quietness to it, it's just gorgeous stuff. So the very first album, we have Luna Park. This came out, this has, just the first 2 songs, Slide and Anesthesia. Well worth it. Just incredible. Both those tunes were amazing. Everything comes on white vinyl. And there's a little sleeve here. Oh man, these things are tight. So yeah, I went to all that work for that. Okay, not much. So that was the first album, 92. This is the first Luna album I ever got. I got it in CD, and this is Bewitched. And Bewitched came out in 1994. It has the song Tiger Lily. And I got it from one of my magazines I had. It might have been CMJ Music Magazine. And they were, one of the samples was Tiger Lily. And I became obsessed with that song. I still am. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. I'd play it again and again and again and again and again. And it made me into a big fan of Luna. We have California on here, Friendly Advice, Bewitched is on here. There is just so many good songs. It's a beautiful album from 94. I think their masterpiece, though, came out in, this one would be 95, and it's Penthouse. And this album, they put it all together. Now, one thing's interesting about this group. When you listen to them, you will hear Velvet Underground, and you will hear Television. Guitar playing of Dean Wareham sounds very much like Tom Verlaine from Television. And when and on here, there's some prime examples of that. Oh my God, it just won't go back in correctly. So here has 23 minutes in Brussels, and I attached something on there. And when you hear, it's 6 minutes, 40 seconds. There's a long guitar solo, and you would swear to God it's being done from a Television album. The drumming sounds like Velvet Underground. I mean, it's just pure Mo Tucker, just that simplistic tom-tom, boom, 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 boom. Beautiful, beautiful. This has Chinatown, Sideshow by the Seashore, Moon Palace. Beautiful, amazing album. I couldn't recommend it more. Both these two, both this and Bewitched, have been repressed, and you can get them. The next one came out, and this was in 97. Here we have Pup Tent. This is the one that I had to replace with my original vinyl. Now I don't have any special kind of sleeve. Didn't come with that. On here, there isn't anything that just super jumps out at you. Pup Tent is probably the best song on here. It's not an essential album. Some good stuff, but It's okay. Then the final full album, and this came out in 20, oh gosh darn it. This one came out in 99, and it is The Days of Our Nights. The Days of Our Nights. And this one has Super Freaky Memories, which is a beautiful song. This is the final one of the 90s. Then they kind of, they reformed. They brought in Britta, is her name. Actually, she and Dean Wareham got married. And they still do music together as Dina and Britta. And Britta had a solo album that I have. It's excellent. But this album was much better than Pup Tent. The other thing included is Rarities by Luna. And various songs that came on EPs that weren't released on album or 7 inches. The biggest one on here is Bonnie and Clyde. And they just did this wonderful Serge Gainsbourg's version of Bonnie and Clyde. They do it in French. Wonderful stuff. Incredible vocals from both Dean and Britt on that. This box set is everything to me. Really meant a lot, and I could not be happier to have that back in. Now another box set, I got this from Vinyl Me Please, and it's Ghetto Records. The story of Ghetto Records. Ghetto Records came out of New York City in the early 70s. Salsa, big time salsa, out of Puerto Rico. Joe Batam, B-A-A-T-M, like the in World War II, the Batam Walk. He put together a label. His father's from Philippines. His mother was African American. They lived down in New York City in the Puerto Rico area. Those burls. Comes in this beautiful box. Very nice. And we have a book in here. Explains the history of Ghetto Records. It never had a lot of money. Joe was just kind of Batan maybe. He was just kind of pissed about things, and he was trying to, put out records, but he didn't like what the other record companies, especially Fanta, was telling. So he said, I'm just forming my own label. It only lasted a couple of years. Went broke. A lot of other issues. But they made some incredible salsa music that to this day really fetches a high price out on the market. And so on here you have the very first album they put out was from Eddie LeBron. It came from Guayama in Puerto Rico. No, Guaynaba in Puerto Rico. And on here you have Yo Te Lo Dedico, which is I dedicate to you. Just super hot. It's a salsa stomper. Incredible. Se Quieres is more of a boogaloo, and just again fast-paced salsa. There is you get some soul claps on there and some funky some different funky sounds. There is some Spanish and some English. Nothing special on the inside. Ghetto Records. Great salsa stuff. Then their next album that they put on here came from Papo Felix and Roy Rodriguez. Papo Felix and Roy Rodriguez. And Papo Felix, he came out of Aguadilla, kind of a self-taught singer. He did a few different albums with in Ghetto Records. And Roy Rodriguez, he put together a band after he got out of reformatory school. He put it together. He didn't know how to play an instrument, except he learned how to play the harmonica. So he wrote all the music using a harmonica. Again, this is some great stuff on here. Para Puerto Rico Voy, which means, what does that mean? For Puerto Rico, I go. It's about Puerto Rican pride. It's just another big band salsa stomper. Very exciting stuff. On some of these albums, some of these songs, again, remember Roy Rodriguez was learning with the playing a harmonica. So it's like, God, we need some. Papo had all these lyrics, so they used a lot of the backing tracks from that Para Puerto Rico Voy. They changed them up a little bit and put them onto a bunch of other songs on here. So you have some of that repetition going on, but still great stuff and fun salsa. Then we have Paul Ortiz and Orchestra Son. And here we have Los Que Son. This one came up with a love song, and they did it in English, which was big. Papo Felix wrote the lyrics and sings the vocals on this one. Tender Love was the name of it, and it went to #1 on the Latin charts. And it just gave obviously Ghetto Records some stuff. You have Despierto Puerto Rican Despierta Puertorriqueño, which translates into Wake Up Puerto Rican, and it deals with social change. In New York City, we need social change on how Puerto Ricans are treated. There is a lot of heavy salsa tunes on here, and then a few slower ones. Now, again, if you're not into salsa, that's fine. I don't have a lot, but this gave me a chance to get some. When I was working in Puerto Rico, I really heard a lot of salsa, and I got into this music. And I never went to the salsa bars. I mean, I'm going in by myself. It's more about dancing. Kind of wish I had, but oh well, it's the way it is now. But I became a big fan of it. So this is La Fantastica Sonny Leon. Had an 11-piece orchestra, and this uses the vibraphone. It's heavy use of piano, vibraphone, and brass, along with percussion. And there's even a song it's called Let's Blues. And on it, they use, it's kind of a psych soul slow burner, believe it or not. Ya No Tengo Quiero is a breakup song, but just with this heavy percussion breaks. Outstanding vibraphone going on. And I don't ever say outstanding vibraphone. Generally, I don't like it. But it was so good. Just crazy riffs happening. So it's a breakup song, but boy, do you get excited about breaking up when you listen to that song. So I really like this one, La Fantastica, quite a bit. Then we have Power of Love by Jose Acosta. Obviously, a lot more love. He came out of Santurce, Puerto Rico. Most of these guys, a lot of these were born in Puerto Rico, but at a very young age, they moved to New York. This guy was highly educated, went to school, went to college. He did soul and Latin jazz was his thing. And so you get definitely a bigger soul feeling within the music on his stuff. And he actually had a hit on here. It was number 10. It was in the top 10 on the Latin charts for 21 weeks, and it's called I Need Her. So these hits, generally, if they went English with them, they did a lot better. Final two records, we have Candido y su movimiento. Candido y su movimiento. This was the last album put out by Ghetto Records, the last full album by Jose Pedro Rodriguez. And a lot of timbalas on here. He was a percussionist. He loved Tito Fuente. He would put them on fire to play. Exciting stuff. So that is what he has happening in here. His brother is also on here, Harold Harry Bongo Rodriguez. And the final one is from Joe Batan. He had a two-part opera, what he would say, street opera that he wanted to put out called Drug Story. And it was kind of about take a 3-minute odyssey. You take some drugs, and it took a lot longer than 3 minutes to write these. It's a full side, but it is it's just kind of what happens, and not in a good way. But it's fueled by your need to escape and your desperation to get out of where you're at, and so you use drugs. Side 2 deals with some of the singles that were released before Ghetto Records went out. So great stuff from Salsa, from Ghetto Records. I did pick up Eric Burdon War. I picked this up. Everyone's seen this one, from Record Store Day. Yeah, I'm just showing it now, folks. That's how far behind sometimes I am. But it's the Eric Burdon albums. They're okay. I didn't need to pick it up. Quite honestly, I really didn't need to pick it up, but I had the first War box set. I thought, let's just get the rest of them. And you know what? There is some good songs, but I like them best without Eric Burdon. And the final one is, I picked this up. I found this on clearance, actually at Radio Wasteland. It's the Art Pepper box set. Not much, the albums here, nothing super exciting with them. It's just, I read the autobiography of Art Pepper, and it was so interesting, so fascinating, and his addiction to drugs, that was more important than the music. And he wouldn't trust only people he would trust were drug users, because you could trust a drug user because they're not going to lie to you. And when he was in prison, he liked the prisoners better than he liked people on the outside. And they would get him into sessions, and he don't know what's going on. He's so strung out. His girlfriends, he made them into drug addicts, until finally at the end, he had one that didn't go that route, but he ruined some lives, with heroin. He tried to get over it, but it all wound up to be a fix. It's tragic, but his autobiography is incredibly, it's a page turner. It's super stuff. So I got this because of reading this, and I wanted to hear more. So those are my box sets. And again, that Luna one, I'm super happy. I just couldn't be more excited to get that. So there we go. We did a little thrifting, some box sets. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great week, and we'll see you Sunday. Bye.